Hey, what up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's the Fandom Frequency, man. Fandom Frequency. We get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, man. Wrestling, movies, anime, comic books, music. We talk about it all around these parts. Click all the buttons below the video. You know the deal. We appreciate all your love and support that you've been giving to us lately and all the love and support you've been giving it to us for the last 2 years we've been around as a channel. We literally hit our 2-year anniversary just the other day, and it's been really awesome. It's been a great journey, putting all this cool content together, nerding out with the homies, man, pushing ourselves creatively, pushing ourselves to create fun content for you and learn new skills and, just talk about what we love the most. So we appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching. Thank you so much. And we don't forget about you podcast listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you as well. And with no further ado, let's get right into it, man. We've been recapping these episodes every single week. They're going to be coming at you every single Wednesday, no later than Thursday, every single week for the entire run of Season 3. This is Episode 4. We're halfway through the 8-episode run, and I'm talking about... Oops, wrong side. That's right. Ba-na-na-na. Mandalorian, baby. The Mandalorian back in full effect. We're halfway through Season 1. This is Episode 4. You see my boy Vizsla and the Armorer right there. And this episode is almost sort of like a side quest filler mixed with some really good deep character development and some unanswered questions. Finally, get the answers we've been waiting all 3 seasons to get the answers to. We also get a cameo from some Star Wars alumni that was one of the more controversial characters in the franchise, but one that I had a lot of love for as a youngin' back in the 1999 Phantom Menace. Just a little bit of a hint there. But this is a full-on spoiler discussion, full-on spoiler recap going from top to bottom through the whole episode. So if you haven't watched it yet, if you didn't catch the spoiler alert warnings or any of that in the description, any of that shit right there, make sure you steer clear until you get a chance to watch the full episode. That's your spoiler warning. Let me give you all my overall thoughts on this episode, and I must say, and I must keep it real with y'all, I really did enjoy this quite a bit. Enjoyed it definitely more than last episode. Some of my minor complaints and some of my complaints in general with the last episode was just the pacing and the editing. I think they could have cut away and did some of the content we got in this episode and maybe even mash these two together. You know what I'm saying? Make it like a nice, good 45, 50-some minute episode, really get to explore the lore of the Mandalorians while we get to fill in some of the blanks with Dr. Parshim or whatever the hell. You know what I'm talking about. The cloning doctor, him and the other character played by the actress Katie O'Brien, but who was also in Ant-Man and the Wasp, if you saw that movie. But these two characters play a very big role with Moff Gideon. That was the lady that we seen working as one of Moff Gideon's employees, whatever. And we know that Dr. Parshim, I believe was his name, he was doing the cloning and the Grogu thing, and he was actually thinking that Mando was going to actually try to hurt Grogu the first time we had seen him when Mando went back to save Grogu way back in Season 1. So we did get some hints that he was a good guy. We did see that last episode, but his brain has been fried up like KFC, so I don't think we're going to be hearing from Dr. Parshim anymore. But wasn't necessarily loving how they spent some more time on that storyline than our main storyline. I thought that they just trimmed that down a little bit and got back into the Din Djarin Grogu stuff. Bo-Katan, of course. I would have preferred that for the last one, but this episode doubles down on all the stuff I was missing from the last episode, and I think some of you fans out there were definitely missing some of that as well. Pick up where we left off, and we're at the Mandalorian commune and everything. Love getting to expand the Mandalorian culture. For those of y'all that haven't joined us before and just going to have to beat a dead horse here, for those of you that are our regular watchers, y'all know I absolutely love, and for those that don't know, the Mandalorian side of the Star Wars universe, that pocket of the Star Wars galaxy, has always been the most interesting, compelling, and badass part of it outside of the Jedi and the Sith. And while we haven't really explored the Sith enough in the overall Skywalker saga, Star Wars canon, if you will, canon, not going into Legends, we've done plenty of exploration there. Never really got too much into the Sith, and we definitely didn't get deep enough into the Mandalorian culture in this new post-2012 canon we've been living in the new era with Disney, Star Wars, and everything like that. So This show, when they announced it, was such a great opportunity. In every single season, they have been doubling down on that and expanding further and further. But this, to me, in this episode 4 of season 3, is some of the all-time best Mandalorian world building we have seen outside of the Clone Wars, and some of the best storytelling and world building we've seen in the Mandalorian show yet. Absolutely love that. Getting to see them train, getting to see some of the customs, Bo-Katan getting adjusted to everything, and seemingly being wholehearted and genuine about wanting to, kind of blend in with the crew, kind of blend in with the clan, and go, this is the way and all that. And love getting to see more scenes with the armorer, and I love getting to get some real character development and some really cool stuff, and filling in the blanks of who saved Grogu. I love getting that whole flashback. We're going to get into that when we actually get to the recap portion. I'm going to save that. Getting into the details and who it was and whatnot, but getting the reveal of who the Jedi was that saved him, everything that played out there. Love getting that Revenge of the Sith, Order 66 vibe. I was there on opening weekend back in 2005 when they dropped Phantom Menace, so I was so freaking excited about that overall flashback scene with Grogu, and I love the way that he actually flashed back just like Mando, a.k.a. Din Djarin, did in Season 1 when the armorer was making his Beskar armor that we all know today, when he went from the Dookie Brown original armor he had in the beginning of Season 1. He actually flashed back in the same point when the armorer was smushing everything or smashing the metal down into the flat surfaces to make the armor and whatnot. He flashed back exactly the same way as Grogu did in this episode, and vice versa and whatnot. And loved everything with that, and loved the character development we've been getting with Grogu, getting to see him train, getting to see him actually do things, and getting to see the dynamic with him and Mando as father and son has been an absolute blast. And, he's always just a cute little guy to watch on screen, but I love how we get to see him do some badass stuff. We get to see him actually start to become a true Mandalorian in a sense, and get that character development and have a purpose in the story to go along with the journey, and not be something that just has, or someone or whatever, to be saved all the time, a la Pan, or something like Dragon Ball GT. Love the way that they're actually developing and moving the character forward. Love all the development they've been doing with Bo-Katan as well. And that was just such a breath of fresh air and came as a surprise. I wasn't quite sure going into this season how they were going to expand her character and everything like that, and where she was going to be today and how they were going to carry it forward. But it's actually going in a much more interesting and unexpected direction than I initially had anticipated. So really, really dug that. Really love that element. Katie Sackhoff is absolutely nailing this character. She's absolutely nailing it, and I just love everything that she's doing. Bo-Katan is the shit. Love it. And yeah, man. And I love how we just didn't get any distractions. We stayed focused on the main characters. Din Djarin, he's a little bit sidelined in this one, but since he gets a lot of the focus of the show in general, and since it is called The Mandalorian and not Din Djarin, we can jump around to other characters and do some other focus on characters a la Luffy, aka in One Piece and all that stuff. So anyway, getting into the topic at hand here. Now let's get into the recap portion of the show, where we break down all the big plot points, chronological and all that shit from beginning to end, and get into all the nitty-gritty details, Easter eggs, anything we picked up, where we think things are going to go in the future, and we'll close it out there. So, kicking off the recap portion of the show, we pick up directly at the new commune for Din Djarin's clan and whatnot, and everyone's right there, right by the water, with this beautiful shot. I could not get a clear picture of it. It really was pissing me off. I really wanted to get that to throw in here, but it was this really awesome shot of all the Mandalorians right there, right by the shore where the water was, where we saw the big giant-ass gator in episode 2? Yeah, episode 2. No, episode 1, my bad, in the premiere. So they're right there. They're all training, shooting their blasters at the water, hand-to-hand combat, you know what I'm saying? And you get to see all the different Mandalorians, all the different types of armor, and all the different types of training that they're doing. And that all leads us to where we see our boy Grogu over there playing with some rock-looking things. You think he's about to be over there practicing the Force because they're moving around, but it turns out those are actual crustaceans that popped up in there, and they were just little crabs or whatever. And then Din Djarin walks up, and he's like, all right, buddy. It's time to get to work. Time for some training. If you're going to be a Mandalorian, got to learn the skills, buddy. Playtime's over. Let's go over here and let's do this thing. So Din Djarin picks him up, and then he takes him over to where all the younglings and where all the foundlings are and everything like that. And we pick up with that one foundling that's played by Jimmy Kimmel's nephew or son or some shit like that. And we pick up with that kid that we saw do the whole Mandalorian ritual and actually recite the lines and take the creed and put on the helmet, so we'll never see that kid's face again. And he's over there chilling in his helmet and whatnot. And he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I gotta train with this little ass thing," because Din Djarin sits Grogu down in front of him. He's like, "All right, Grogu, here's your guy you're gonna train with. Let's get ready to rock and roll." And Grogu's like, "Shit, man, really? This guy's big." And he's like, "Don't worry, man. You got this. You know the Force and shit. You train with Luke motherfucking Skywalker. You got this, son. You got it. Now, get these damn dart things on and let's do it." And then, Din Djarin's over there, giving his pep talk and whatnot. And he's like, "All right, Grogu, it's time for you to step up and do some training, boy. It's time for you to do this thing." And then he's like, "Oh, shit, Dad. All right, fine." And then Bo-Katan bends down and she's like, "All right, buddy. My dad was the same way with me. Just put these little gauntlets on. It's time for you to get some training in. But, it's necessary. You need to do that, but we believe in you." Giving him some of that motherly love, you know what I mean? Getting some of those mother vibes right there. And everyone's shipping Mando and Bo-Katan to get together all of a sudden. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? But, hey, who knows? Might become Grogu's new mama. Who knows? But getting back on track here. And then he's like, "All right, so put on these gauntlets and shoot the darts and whatever." And the dude, and they're like, "All right, get ready, draw, fire." And the kid shoots him, and then Grogu's like, "Hey, goddamn dude shot me." And then he go, "All right, next round, let's go." And then he shoots him again, and Grogu's like, "Damn." And then Din Djarin bends down. He's like, "Hey, dude, come on, bro, you're embarrassing me out here." Nah, but he's like, "Come on, Grogu, I know you can do this, bro. Quit being scared. Show him all you got. You can beat this kid in your sleep. Let me see what you got, boy. Show him what's up." And then Grogu's like, "All right. Let me get back in the vibe." And then he jumps up like he did in Book of Boba Fett, aka Mandalorian season 2.5. And he's over there doing front flips and back flips like he's Neo and shit. And the kid's like, "Whoa, what the hell's going on?" And then he just shoots him with the darts, all three at once, just do simultaneously. And the kid's like, "Damn." And then Din Djarin's like, "Hell yeah." And then Bo-Katan's like, "God damn, did you teach him that?" He's like, "Nah, not me." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, Luke motherfucking Skywalker taught him that shit, bro." And Grogu's like, "Hell yeah." And then Din Djarin's like a proud dad, like, "Hell yeah, kid, that's what's up." And then the other kid that he was fighting against, the one from the last, from the premiere episode that we thought was Din Djarin for a minute there in a flashback, turns out it was just Paz Vizsla's son, as we find out shortly. But the kid gets taken by some giant ass space pterodactyl, and that thing flies off this cliff or whatever, and then he comes down and grabs the kid pterodactyl style and takes off with him. And then Din Djarin's about to shoot the hell out of the thing, but then Paz Vizsla's like, "Hey man, don't shoot that thing. It's gonna hurt the kid, and that's my son up there, bruh." Cause I didn't even put the two and two together that the mask the kid's helmet looked almost just like Paz Vizsla's, so I didn't even put that together that that's his kid right there. So he's got his own foundling right there. So him and Din Djarin once again have so much more in common. If these fools would get on the same page, man, they could be the new Murtaugh Riggs out here, man. But yeah, so they all the thing takes off and everyone's like, "Oh shit, what do we do?" And they all take off in their jetpacks and whatnot. And after they take off following the thing for a while, they start to run out of fuel because, as us huge Star Wars nerds will know, it eventually will run out of fuel. So it does. Paz Vizsla, Din Djarin's goes down first, and then Vizsla's doesn't keep going either. And then Bo-Katan's like, "Man, y'all are dumb. I'm gonna go over here and get on my spaceship and follow the damn thing." So that's exactly what she does. She goes over there, gets in her ship, which I love her ship, by the way. I need a replica of that stat. And she goes over there, follows the space pterodactyl, and figures out where its nest is, and then goes back. And she's like, "All right, I know where it's at. We got to climb this mountain thing, and we can get to it. But we can't use jetpacks because it will hear us. So we're going to have to fly over there, get to the base of it, and then we have to climb the rest of the way." And I used to do that shit as a kid, so I got this in the bag. I hope y'all can keep up. So they're like, "All right, I guess that's the game plan." And they make their little game plan, and they begin moving along. But while they go off to go do this, while they go off to go do this mission and get the kid back, Grogu has got to stay back with the armor. And she's like, "Well, you're too small to go with them now on this mission, but you won't be forever. But come on inside here, kid. It's time for me to teach you a thing or two." And that's where we jump on over there with Grogu and the armorer inside the little forge area there, as she starts to forge him some more Beskar Mandalorian protection. And she's like, "All right, kid, it's time for you to learn about your culture." She gives him some lessons about the forge, everything like that, teaching him about the metaphor of how Mandalorians are persevere and are, get through struggles and all this other shit, yada yada yada. And then she makes him his own little Beskar chest plate with the Mudhorn insignia, because that kind of represents him and Mando's House of Two at this point. With that insignia, with Grogu helping him defeat the Mudhorn in near the beginning of season 1, where he make those deal with the Jawas to get the devices, to get his ship fixed, and all that other stuff to get his parts back. It was a whole story. It was a whole thing, but he had to try to get his ship, the original ship that he had, the Thundercrest. Was that what it was called? The Razor Crest. Sorry, Thundercrest. That sounds kind of good, but Razor Crest and all that. So I digress. Getting back to the episode at hand here, and as she goes on explaining the Mandalorian culture and starts to meld and smush this stuff down in order to smash it down flat or whatever, he has that flashback, as I alluded to earlier, back to Order 66 when he was at the Jedi Temple over there in Coruscant or whatever, and Anakin and all of them are making their way in. You got clones running around. We don't get to see Anakin, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping we would, but it's all good. But the Jedi we do see, and the one that comes in to save the day, is a character named Kelleran Beck, played by the great Ahmed Best. That's right, I said the great Ahmed Best because it puts some respect in that man's name. He played Jar Jar Binks back in the prequel trilogy, and I know some of y'all are gonna say Jar Jar sucks and fuck Jar Jar, man, but kitty bullshit. We all know. Give the man a break. He did what he was hired to do. He read the lines on the page. He performed what George Lucas wanted him to do. That was the character. No one else would have did any better job. No one else would have did anything differently. Cut him some slack, all right? But Ahmed Best has had such a freaking strong fortitude over these last 24 years since The Phantom Menace came out, since all the controversy began, since the internet took a shitstorm on this thing, and ever since that went down, the fact that he was willing to come back to do this role and do this little quick cameo as Kelleran Beck, a character that was established in the animated things from either the High Republic or something like that, but he's from the established canon of today, post 2012 and all that. So this character's been around for a minute, and Ahmed Best got to play him in live action and got to bring him to life. And it was a really dope ass sequence, man, because you get him coming in there. One of the Jedis gets wiped out, so he grabs his lightsaber, and he has two lightsabers going on, green and blue, and he's fighting them off, getting past those guys, gets rid of the other saber, then he's getting Grogu out of there. And the one thing I was kind of curious about is why they put so much focus on Grogu as opposed to the other younglings that might have been around. Because we know Reva was one of those, for those that have seen Obi-Wan Kenobi. She was one of the few that escaped that whole traumatic incident. So I guess her, Grogu, and maybe very few other younglings, such as Kanan, who was out there running around. And for those that have watched Bad Batch Season 1, the pilot of that, if you're just curious, actually shows the moment where Order 66 goes down and Kanan gets separated from his master when he was a Padawan and all that. So for all you Kanan Jarrus fans, if you want to get that backstory told to you in animation or in motion, as opposed to reading the original comic book run from the mid 2010s, I definitely recommend checking out that Bad Batch pilot, even if it's just for that particular sequence. Some amazing stuff. But anyways, getting back to the subject at hand here. So we know there's very few youngins out there, so I'm a little curious to see why they put so much focus on Kelleran Beck, but we know he has to survive and make it to the present. All that other shit, it all has to tie together. And it was just cool getting to see Ahmed Best step in here, be a Jedi. He did a very great job with this. Wasn't a ton of dialogue or any heavy lifting dramatically that he had to do, but coming in, playing the role of the Jedi, you bought it, you were sold on it. I had almost forgotten what he looked like, so I didn't even pick up on the fact that it was Ahmed Best at first when I was watching the episode, so that was actually kind of funny. But yeah, man, it was a really cool sequence, and then getting to see him on the speeder car things, and then trying to speeder bike thing with the sidecar when he had Grogu up in there, and Grogu's like, "Hold up, let me put my hood over here. Let me close this hood on this thing, man. I ain't trying to get shot at." So then Grogu covers up his little thing or whatever. And then once they finally make it with that rough landing, Grogu opens up his little floating bassinet thing again. And then there's some dudes dressed up sort of like the people that used to run around with Padme and everything like that. So I'm thinking these are maybe people that work in Naboo or something. So might have something to do with Bail Organa or something like that, because they're not clones, and they're definitely allies of the Jedi in the Old Republic of the time. So I would have to assume it's somebody or some kind of associates of Bail Organa or something like that. But anyways, I digress. And then that's pretty much it for the flashback right there. But it was a pretty cool sequence, man. Getting to see him fight through all the clone troopers and getting to see Order 66 going down from a different perspective with characters we don't know necessarily like that, minus Grogu, and getting to get a brand new character to step in here and expand the Star Wars lore as opposed to making the galaxy smaller. I do appreciate as a Star Wars fan that does want to see them move forward and do fresher, different characters or even fresher, different time periods in the Star Wars timeline. Just want to see them sprout out and expand it and take some risk and push into a new direction with less expectation. And I think we can get the Star Wars fandom even back a little bit on the same page as we were post Rogue One and Force Awakens. Goddamn, that was a hell of a time, wasn't it, y'all? When we could just talk about Star Wars and people can get along. That was an amazing time. But anyway, as we continue on here, we flash back to the present, and that's when Grogu ends up getting his piece of armor from the armorer. We get to see it go down. Sooner rather than later, I want to see a Grogu damn Mandalorian helmet. Let's go. Let's go. That's $1 billion in revenue right there, Disney. You know you got to do it. But anyway, and then they end up going over there to the nest, and Paz Vizsla's over there becoming too much of a hothead. He ends up fucking up the plan damn near, and then the pterodactyl spits up the kid so we can feed it to the babies as birds do. And once that starts to go down, Paz Vizsla fucks up, and then it throws the kid, or it almost takes off with the kid again, and they're like, oh shit. So then Din Djarin and them got to chase it with the jetpacks and try to circle around it to get the kid back, and one of them have to kind of distract the damn pterodactyl thing in order for someone to make the save, which was Din Djarin, of course, who made the save for the kid, and they get him back to the commune safely and everything like that. But before they get back, we do get a quick scene with Bo-Katan and the armorer, because she's like, yo, Bo-Katan, I see what you've been doing, girl. I see you doing living by the code, living by the creed. Let me hook you up and get you a new piece of armor there. I see you missing a little something. Let me hook you up, girl. She takes her in there, gonna give her the new insignia, and she's like, yo, I saw the mythosaur, yo. Shit was crazy, dog. And then she's like, right, yeah. People see shit all the time when they go in the bathing waters. Motherfuckers getting religious out here, like those people that be going and passing out and shit like that. You know what I mean? One of those people. And she's like, no, man, I really saw the mythosaur. You think I'm tripping? I'm not. I saw it. And then she's like, yeah. The armorer's like, quit smoking that shit unless you're sharing it with me, girl. and then Bo-Katan's like, man, I know what I saw. And Bo-Katan's over there looking at the mythosaur wall decoration thing like hunters have and shit. And she's like, well, the armorer's like, well, the mythosaur is for all Mandalorians, so it's not just for you, so you can't have that on your insignia. And I was like, or she did? I think she did put it on the insignia, actually. But she's like, well, this is for all Mandalorians, so I could put it on there. But she's like, nah, I'm putting it on there because I saw that damn thing and rescued Din Djarin and survived. Give me my just due. When's it gonna be my time? If you get that movie reference, let me know down below. But yeah, man. And after that, that's pretty much it for the episode. A nice, short, and sweet one. My only complaint with this episode is give me more minutes, more time. Why are these episodes so damn short this season, man? The longest episode we get doesn't even focus on the main characters, man. It's a little frustrating, I will admit, but I really did enjoy this episode, especially as a lifelong Star Wars fan. They had a little something for everybody, especially those hardcore Star Wars nerds like me. But let me know what you thought about this episode down below the video. I want to know what you think about Season 3 so far. What do you think about this fourth and latest episode? Do you think they're doing too much with Grogu? Do you think they're doing it just enough? Are you loving all the character development and the reintroduction of Bo-Katan? I know I sure as hell am. Thank you so much for checking out this latest recap / review. We're doing these every single Wednesday. Make sure you're tuning in. I'm staying up till midnight to watch the episode the second it drops, doing the reviews in the morning, going to work, getting the edits done and all that. So you will be seeing this every single week on Wednesday, no later than Thursday. All depends on how everything goes, but no later than every Thursday, you will see these Mandalorian episodes. So if you don't want to miss them, click that subscribe button. Easiest way to do it. We also got it on audio, so if you want to bump it on your way to work, put it on your commute or whatever, do it for your workout. If you can listen to on your AirPods at work, throw us on there, man. Phantom frequency, anywhere you listen to your audio and all that good jazz. make sure you're tuning in. We're going to have a John Wick spoiler-free review. I think I'm going to be dropping this weekend. A little bit more Scream content, and we got a lot more to come. So make sure you stay tuned. You don't be sleeping. This was The Mandalorian episode 4. And until next time, if you're only tuning in for The Mandalorian, make sure you're back here next Wednesday for that Mandalorian episode 5. And for all of you that check out everything, we'll be seeing you again real soon. And until then, much love, peace out, and this is The Way.